Hello friends and viewers, and welcome to my Magnus character guide. My name is James, I'm a global player and I started playing Sword of Convallaria in September 2024. I'm a longtime strategy and turn-based RPG fan with the Fire Emblem series, Tactics Ogre, and Unicorn Overlord as some recent titles I enjoy. I'm a PvE focused player in Sword of Convallaria. I have no interest or knowledge of PvP. As a global player, I lack the technical knowledge and exposure to the Taiwan and China scenes. As a result, I'm subject to feedback and I'm open to being wrong. If you come across conflicting information to other guides and creators, then there are absolutely multiple ways to play a character. Play your way. As a fun fact about myself, I am a Thai tea boba enjoyer. Magnus's trait is Experienced Guard. This is an aura that, at star level 5, reduces the attack and defense of all enemies within 4 tiles around him by 15%. Additionally, his trait converts his physical defense for additional physical attack. As such, physical defense is a secondary stat to increase Magnus's damage, but this also means physical defense debuffs will reduce his damage. His initial skill is Mountain Breaker. This is a single target attack that ignores aura effects when striking injured targets. Try to prioritize using this ability for kills for the energy regen. At rank 1, your options are Offensive Stance or Resolve. Offensive Stance adds Magnus's physical defense to his physical attack at the cost of taking 8% more damage as well as 1 energy. You can hypothetically cast this every other turn and maintain 100% uptime. However, this may be difficult to use as his damaging skills, Mountain Breaker and Iron Chariot, are costly as is. Resolve allows Magnus to cheat death once per battle. It offers some reprieve against gameplay mistakes that Backtrack may not be able to fix, or even bait a lethal single target attack. In my opinion, neither skill will be a regular part of Magnus's skill loadout. If you cannot decide, select based on the HP or defense stat gain. Recall Magnus gains bonus physical attack from his physical defense. My pick here is Resolve. At rank 5, I recommend Cry of Victory and consider Castalia for Forceful Cast. For enemies defeated within 2 tiles of Magnus, Cry of Victory grants damage 2 buff to allies and inflicts an attack 2 debuff on enemies. From a single kill or a single cast of Mountain Breaker, Magnus increases group damage as well as reduces group damage taken. Consider Castalia for Forceful Cast. It is a versatile skill to assist with kiting an enemy, throwing objects such as explosive barrels, or setting up an enemy for AoE damage or knockbacks. At rank 5, your options are Bloodthirsty Axe or Hardening. With Bloodthirsty Axe, notice compared to ordinary strikeback reactions, Magnus will not do reduced damage. This reaction will strike back with whichever basic attack you select at rank 9. While Bloodthirsty Axe can only activate once per round, this will increase Magnus's overall damage. Hardening offers a passive 8% damage taken decrease against active attacks, followed by a damage reduction 2 buff. This is helpful to make Magnus even more sturdier on the front line. Select Bloodthirsty Axe if you want to play Magnus more offensively, or Hardening if you want to play him more defensively. My pick here is Hardening. At rank 7, I recommend Blood and Steel. As a leader's aura, Blood and Steel doubly dips into Magnus's passive with the attack and defense increases. All Fortitude allies will take 10% less damage as well as maintain their damage and damage mitigation when injured. Crushing Bash has a 3-turn cooldown with a 3-turn uptime on the Vulnerable 2 debuff, so you can hypothetically maintain 100% uptime on a single target. Vulnerable debuffs can be valuable if you're progressing any particular boss challenges, but for a free-to-play option, Knighted Guard can learn the same skill. Blood and Steel will have greater long-term use. At rank 9, I recommend Mighty Swing. Mighty Swing turns Magnus's basic attack into an AoE attack. He can strike multiple targets every turn, and the extended range allows Magnus to safely hit objects such as explosive barrels. In stages where the AoE attack in range is not valuable, you still have the option to revert back to his initial basic attack. Feverish Attack adds 20% lifesteal to Magnus's basic attack. Compared to Feverish Attack, Mighty Swing is more versatile and does more damage when 2 or more targets are present. At rank 11, I recommend Iron Chariot. Iron Chariot boasts a hefty 4 energy cost with no cooldown, and physical attack and physical defense buffs will enable its damage to scale farther than Mountain Breaker. Iron Chariot's energy cost and stat scaling makes this skill gear, buff, and team dependent. Magnus's physical defense first determines the output of Iron Chariot, but Magnus will also require high physical attack to raise the damage ceiling. If 3 times Magnus's physical defense exceeds 2 times his physical attack, then Magnus needs more physical attack to raise the damage ceiling. If 3 times Magnus's physical defense does not exceed 2 times his physical attack, then Magnus needs more physical defense to reach the damage ceiling. To optimize Iron Chariot within a team, Magnus will require external sources of energy regen and sources of physical attack and physical defense buffs to cast Iron Chariot as frequently and as powerful as possible. Sharpened Blade is most valuable if you selected Bloodthirsty Axe at rank 5. This skill may find its way in a Mighty Swing build to increase his AoE damage. This is my general build recommendation. Decide between Mountain Breaker and Iron Chariot based on your comfort and team composition. If you want to use Forceful Cast, consider substituting Blood and Steel. This build focuses on tools to increase Magnus's AoE damage with Mighty Swing during his turn and strikebacks. Be mindful that Mighty Swing will be his only damaging ability, and with only offensive stance, Magnus will regain energy faster than he can spend. For weapons, Hollow Axe synergizes well with Magnus's trait in increasing both his defense and physical attack. Otherwise, consider Tuning Hammer for the passive physical attack increase and dispel utility. For trinkets, with Mystery Guardian, note that while Magnus gains bonus physical defense when attacked from the front, this trinket grants immunity to defense attribute debuffs regardless from what direction he takes damage. Because Magnus's physical attack scales with his physical defense, immunizing defense attribute debuffs means protecting his damage. If you're playing Magnus with Bloodthirsty Axe and Sharpened Blade, consider Crystal Burst Armor for more strikeback damage. For Taros, you can consider Silence of the Hermit for additional damage mitigation. Temptation of the Devil is a great option on high target count maps because Magnus's trait dips into both the attack and defense gains. You can consider Hierophant's Laws with its hidden effect to increase single target damage and reduce AoE damage taken, and you can also consider Dream of the Magician when playing primarily with Mighty Swing. For Engravings, Pinnacle Engravings have the highest ceiling for HP and defense rolls, making a great choice for taking damage. With Blood and Steel removing Injured State's penalties, Double Pinnacle will give Magnus a bit of a damage increase and damage taken decrease as well when injured. If you're invested in Magnus as more of a damage dealer, the Sword and Wand Resonance is another great option with the attack and defense buffs dipping into his trait. To provide some composition and usage tips, in the current character roster, Magnus has the second highest base physical defense in the game, ranking behind Tiden. There are ways to make Mountain Breaker and Iron Chariot powerful with buffs and gear, but building Magnus to tank physical damage is a safe starting option. Magnus is part of the Iria and Fortitude categories. Consider building a team with Magnus around his Fortitude aura and/or with Dentalion's Iria aura. Dentalion's aura provides the unique effect of more damage to enemies with 3 or more debuffs. With the debuffs from Magnus's trait and Cry of Victory, he easily contributes to the debuff requirement. Inanna possesses the skill Soulmate. This is a great ability to have in an Irian team, providing attack and defense buffs, dipping even further with Magnus's trait. This concludes my character guide. As mentioned in my disclaimer, I welcome feedback and I'm open to being wrong. I'm still learning and improving just like you are. Once again, if you find conflicting information to other guides or content creators, then that means there are multiple ways to build a character and still achieve success. If you have any feedback for me, please feel welcome to comment below. I also have my various social media platforms on this slide here. Last but not least, I want to credit and shout out these resources that helped me put this guide together. Voyage Memento for their character build samples and reference links, the Sword of Convallaria No Potion fan site for skill images and skill descriptions, the Sword of Convallaria Cloud Drop Wiki for skill filtering and gear images, and the Billy Game and Game Key Chinese sites for character art assets. I highly recommend visiting these links to build your Sword of Convallaria knowledge. Thank you so much for watching this character guide, and I will see you in the next one.